Ladies and gentlemen, I have the worst computer of all time. Do you understand? This is probably the computer Biden uses to make all his foreign policy decisions. I have the worst computer of all time. So it just updates endlessly in the most excruciating way possible. I told you, it's like watching an erotic film with Jerry Nadler and Nancy Pelosi. This was so excruciating. It continues to be the worst thing possible. Having this, I'm going to get a new computer. But this is like, it's like listening to AOC give a lecture on quantum physics. This computer is basically, I think, like I said, what Biden uses for all his decision making. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Great Grandma Anon, hello. Diane, Eric, H526, Zach, hello, everybody. When the ICBMs are above, I'm telling you what it's like Red Dawn and the last scene from Independence Day. I'm telling you something. When I see the missiles above and Biden's foreign policy results in climate change, immediate climate change, not 100 years, 200 years, Martha's Vineyard, beachfront property. We're talking real climate change. You want climate change, Biden will give it to you. If Taiwan is, God forbid, blockaded or invaded, let me tell you. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel, to my super chat. Thank you so very much. Roger Rabbit. I must thank you, Roger Rabbit, for just being so kind and wonderful and always saying the most kind, wonderful things, and for the super thanks, and also for being a new Patreon. Thank you, Roger Rabbit. If the most populous country in the world says, oh, well, Biden messed up Afghanistan, and it wasn't about the country falling. It was about the manner in which we left. People holding on to airplanes as they took off. This didn't have to happen. To spite Trump, all it is to spite Trump, what they did was say, oh, we don't want a May 1st timeline. We want a September timeline. Nobody knows why. Again, nobody knows why, mashed potato brains. Hey, well, come on now. Come on. Oh, come on, man. Oh, come on. Casey and the Sunshine Band taking over the place. Come on, man. Gap Band. Come on, man. Come on now. You know the deal. Hey, smile, you know the deal. Most popular candidate. I told you. It was like I think he's demonically possessed. We had contingency plans. How you like it now? Most popular candidate. At least you don't have Trump's tweets. And you have a situation where if Beijing decides to blockade or invade the country of Taiwan, what is Biden going to do? Nothing. He can't do anything. We're overstretched. We don't have the money for a protracted conflict. They're part of the National Security Council. Russia would side with them. Who knows what France would do? They have tremendous influence around the world. And acquiring Taiwan is the number one national security goal of the communists in that country. It's the number one national security goal. And they're already, type in Taiwan. God bless the people of Taiwan. I don't want this to happen. 2 hours ago, U.S. reaffirms commitment to Taiwan after leaving Afghanistan. Okay, thank God we left. The manner in which we left was horrendous. And honestly, God bless the people of Taiwan. You with Trump, at least you had somebody who was able to exert pressure upon the most populous country in the world. He was able to exert a great deal of pressure. Okay? Trump's tariffs alone were something that no other Republican or Democrat, 16.8% of all goods imported to the U.S. January 2020, the Trump administration had imposed tariffs on 16% of all goods. Let's see, China. Look at the tariffs. Tariffs of 25%, 20%, and 10% were first announced May 13th, 2019. And if you look, they didn't want that. They didn't want that. That's what got them really frightened. That's what they didn't like. You could say that, like, Trump announced August 1st, 2019 would impose 10% tariff on $300 billion of Chinese imports. 4 days later, Chinese Commerce Ministry announced that China was halting imports of all American agricultural products. Yeah, but they need the agricultural products. So he had leverage. Trump had leverage. Okay? They have tremendous environmental problems. That's why they import so much American agriculture. And let's see. Trump tariffs. And they say, well, it was hurting the economy. No, it wasn't. At the end of the day, it was a good thing because it was, at the end of the day, it was a good thing that we had leverage, that we could impose some kind of leverage for that moment to get them to the bargaining table, which they eventually did go to the bargaining table. And so, Forbes, Trump's tariffs were much more damaging than thought. They weren't. The economy was doing very well until the global health catastrophe that was actually half of the catastrophe was the response. So, or more than, you have to look around, and when you cross the street, you have to look. There's so many ways. Heart disease, God forbid, cancer. You're at greater risk than a 99.7% survival, 99.5% survival rate. And so, U.S. companies bearing the brunt of Trump's China tariffs. It's like, Biden hasn't backed off on the tariffs. Want to know why? Biden has left Trump's tariffs in place. Here's why. Okay, I love this. You had all of these articles saying Trump's tariffs are so horrible, Trump's tariffs are so horrible. And then you have CNN. Here's why Biden left them in place. It's okay. It's okay if Biden left them in place, Here's why Biden left them in place. And it's like, you have this situation where it's this world we live in, this world where it's all public relations, and even the public relations, even the entire public relations machine supporting, this is unbelievable. My computer is computer. I think Satan has taken over this computer. Either Satan or the demon that possesses Biden. This is unbelievable. What is with this computer? What is with this computer? What? What is? I don't care. I don't want Dell to keep updating. For what? Why do you need to update? during a live stream. You need to update for what? What's the point? What is the point? Anyway, they went ahead and let's look at Trump's tariffs really quickly. Again, if I could possibly get to. Okay, so what were Trump's tariffs in terms of percentages? Okay, so and then you have these like articles. Did Trump's tariffs benefit American workers? He's doing it for a long-term. It's a long-term strategy or a strategy of like 1 or 2 years, not immediate economic gain. The whole thing was about leverage. You're supposed to engage in some type of leverage. Then now we have zero leverage around the world. Zero leverage. We have nobody trusts us because Biden, to spite Trump, didn't evacuate American embassy workers, diplomats, Afghans who deserve to become citizens, left billions in armament. The colossal failure of us leaving in the manner we did, not us leaving. So now you have a situation where the next national security threat or crisis could be Taiwan. And if Taiwan, this is the moment now where China has been waiting for. I mean, this is the moment. And it's like, Trump's tariffs cost U.S. companies $46 billion to date. It's like, well, many of those companies asked for that because they were losing money in the manner with the manner in which that country was engaging in business to begin with. So, I swear to God, you can't get an actual article. Everything is so convoluted. You can't simply get an article explaining why. Why did he engage in the tariffs? What was the point? What was the reasoning? Was it a long-term strategy to impose economic leverage on a country that will outpace us in 20 years? They'll be number one in the world. And so Trump actually did something that frightened them. He actually did something. Furthermore, tariffs would be raised from 25 to 30% on existing $250 billion worth of Chinese goods beginning October 1st, 2019, and from 10 to 15% to the remaining $300 billion worth of goods beginning on December 15th, 2019. Okay, so that was something that they didn't want. And it engaged in, then they tried to retaliate. But the moment, like that moment in time when Trump was actually standing up and actually taking a stand, in many ways, the steel CEOs asked for that. A lot of these CEOs knew that there might be short-term negative impact, but they wanted the playing field in terms of an economic playing field to be more level. Okay? But this is so difficult for if you don't have instant gratification, instant and immediate gratification, it doesn't work. So we had these tariffs that Biden is still keeping, and then we had what. And then, of course, that was all Trump's fault. And then you can't even talk about the origins. You talk about the origins, a big problem. And you have a situation where, at this point right now, the credibility of the country, the credibility, okay, you had the entire American political establishment propping up Biden. The entire American political establishment, okay? The absolute entire American political establishment. Even the entire American political establishment realizes that he's an absolute failure. He's a catastrophic failure. Trump was not a failure. Trump got them upset because of his words. They were worried about Trump's words. and his subliminals and his words and his social media presence. They couldn't stand Trump's social media presence. It was a big problem for them. So they every single day melted into this fine mist of Trump contempt and disdain. That's all they did every day was complain about democracy and Trump and democracy. He's pressuring Zelensky. When the ICBMs are above and we're all glowing afterwards, I don't think pressuring Zelensky is going to be the big problem. Okay. Meanwhile, they're so corrupt, they cover up everything. The entire country is becoming, we are our entire country has become Hunter Biden. We are now Biden's son. This is what has happened to this country. Go look. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Go look at Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner. Go look at that family. They're happy. They're successful. They're not hooked on narcotics. They're not complete and utter yes, there's nepotism, but nepotism itself isn't bad. There's nothing inherently wrong with nepotism. The problem is when you don't appreciate and you just utilize your you talk about privilege. There's no greater example. There's no greater example than the Bidens. There's no greater example. The Trumps are privileged, but they utilize their privilege to, they have a family that's prosperous. They don't get into trouble with the law. You're looking at politically motivated investigations, but it's not like they're hooked on narcotics, like alcoholics. This is Biden's son's life. And now we have a completely dysfunctional American foreign policy, economic policy, crime is soaring, inflation. This is exactly what they wanted. Does anyone in their right mind believe that Biden is respected within the Oval Office? Even Democrats don't believe this. You think they revere President Biden? You think he's so revered by his staff? You think his staff goes to him for his vast knowledge on things? This is a complete joke. Nobody on the planet, including any adversaries, think that our beloved President Biden is revered in any way or even respected. Do you think anyone respects his knowledge base with Libya and voting for Iraq and Afghanistan? You think that his knowledge base is respected in any way? I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. You look at this situation and it's exactly, Superman 800, exactly. We're on a sinking ship with a sleeping captain. It's basically every single day we're hitting an iceberg. Every single day. Oh, look, there's an iceberg. Oh, there goes half the ship. Okay. Every single day, it's some and now the Matrix, now the software that is running everything, it's completely imploding. It's completely imploding, okay? Because it can't sustain the hypocrisy. It can't sustain the failures. It just simply can't sustain the continual failures, okay? They're all embarrassed. They're all embarrassed. They're all they're not even mortified or really embarrassed. They've given up. Notice there's this, great grandma Anon. Thank you. Shall we see some love donation? Thank you, great grandma. I hope all is well. Great grandma Anon. You are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so very, 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 very much. Thank you so very, very, very much. As always, I hope you're doing well. Great grandma Anon, I hope you're doing well. And it's I think that for people who this world we live in, great grandma Anon, I think that if you remember the world in the 90s or in the 80s like we do, or even before 2010, we were able to see things without the dystopian lens of social media. Without Twitter saying, this is a misleading post. This post lacks context. No, it's not misleading, Dorsey and Twitter. No, it's not misleading. It offers a vantage point you don't like. Therefore, you say it's missing context. The context is exactly what the context should be, because it opposes your viewpoint. That's what's called dialogue and discourse. God forbid. God forbid we have dialogue and discourse in a democracy with free speech. That's out the window. I mean, it's unbelievable. Great Grandma Anon, thank you. Thank you, Great Grandma Anon. Thank you so much. You look at what was life like before social media. You had to prove and back up and explain your argument. You had to communicate. You could be funny like the great comedians and be, if you were offensive, it's okay. It was okay because it was comedy. People understood the difference between comedy and an insult, between laughing and something mean-spirited. People understood, like, laughing comedy is joyful. It's happy. And sometimes the most embarrassing or, provocative or quote-unquote offensive type of comedy, I mean, you have, go look at the comedian Sam Kinison, Don Rickles. You couldn't, I would say old Howard Stern, but he wasn't a comedian, but Howard Stern today is like nothing compared to, he wouldn't even have made it. It's like you look at all of the great comedians. They would, you look and could Sam Kinison survive today's, super sensitive dystopian nightmare that we have in this world today? Okay, he couldn't. Andrew Dice Clay, when he was first, you look at Lenny Bruce. Could Lenny Bruce? It's like these are people that you just look. They would find a problem with Richard Pryor. They would find a problem with Eddie Murphy. If you listen to Delirious or Raw. Dave Chappelle, Robin Williams, Red Fox, love Red Fox. Love Red Fox. So, you look, and the great, you talking about legendary, female comedians also, Lucille Ball, Roseanne Barr. You're talking about legendary female comedians who were funny, and if they pushed the envelope, it was hilarious. But now everything is tailored and diluted and but what Biden did, what his failure in Afghanistan was to simply prepare. It's not leaving. It was to simply prepare to get out. Great Grandma Anon, you're one of the legends. I mentioned you. You're one of the legends, and I have always stated that. I've always stated, Great Grandma, I always wanted to marry Johnny Carson. I love Johnny Carson. Great Grandma Anon, I love Johnny Carson. I love Johnny Carson. Arsenio Hall I loved. But can I tell you something? I love Johnny Carson. And when you look at somebody that Johnny Carson, I think I'm looking at now her first TV appearance ever on the Johnny Carson show. Wow. Great Grandma Anon. You're talking about a time when you had to be funny. You had to be hilarious. You had to get people to laugh. And there was only one Johnny Carson. There wasn't YouTube. There wasn't 50 channels. There wasn't like, you could just go ahead and have your own comedy channel and on YouTube or whatever. Like you had to be super talented back in the day. There are talented people today, but I think they're few and far between. The truly talented people. There are a lot of famous people today. I don't believe are that talented. That's true. I don't know. That's just my viewpoint. That all the talent, like the real talent, is like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Or I'd say 15, 20, 30 years ago. Great Grandma Anon, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Great Grandma Anon. As always, Don L. Baker! Don L. Baker, stop the press. This just in, Roger Rabbit, international man of shenanigans, announced today his commitment to ride with the H.A. Goodman until the wheels fall. Don L. Baker, Roger Rabbit, you are so kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can tell you, it's sometimes annoying. Don L. Baker and Roger Rabbit, sometimes annoying, but it's always eventually somewhat rewarding, hopefully. Don L. Baker, thank you so very much. So kind of you, and I love the profile. And Roger Rabbit, too. Roger Rabbit, Don, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciate. Great Grandma Anon. Don, did you love Johnny Carson the way Great Grandma Anon and I did? I love Johnny Carson. I go on YouTube all the time, and I see all the time. I see all these wonderful old interviews and these comedians and actors and it just was like a different, like, you look at Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel and it's the same thing. They're not that funny. Is Jimmy Kimmel that funny? Is Jimmy Fallon that funny? Johnny Carson was funny. He was hilarious. Arsenio Hall was funny. Very funny. I don't know. Like, there aren't many people today that I can say, like, who is a Robin Williams today? There are great comedians. Who is a Robin Williams today? You know, who is a Robin Williams today? Who is I mean, the closest thing I could think of is like the closest person I could think of to like a Eddie Murphy or a Robin Williams. I would put Cat Williams up there. Okay? Cat Williams is awesome. But he that was 10, 15. He's been awesome for like 30 years, 20 years. So, but who today can you name? There's some good. There's Ryan Long is hilarious. He's awesome. He does a lot of political comedy. There's a lot of political comedians that are great, who are like come from a conservative viewpoint. But who breaks the mold today? Who shatters things? Like, you know, you gotta say Roseanne Barr was a trailblazer. She broke the mold. Lucille Ball broke the mold. Okay, Richard Pryor. These people are legendary because there aren't many people like them. They're unique. I want to know, is Biden unique? Getting back to foreign policy. Is he a more empathetic or nicer version of Bush? I don't know. Bush had that whole shtick where he was empathetic. Remember that? He was a compassionate conservative. Flip Wilson. Love Flip Wilson. But you look, and Ricky Gervais is good. You look, and it's like everything now is marketed. Everything now is marketed and sold and marketed and sold, and it's all public relations. That's why when you have to actually, it's 4th and goal, and you got to punch it in, and you got to give the ball to the running back, you don't want to hear, come on, man, come on now, come on. Hey, now, you know the deal. Okay, up the middle, on 2, let's go. You know the deal, man. Come on, man. No, come on, please, don't fumble it. Just go, come on. We're on the 1-yard line, it's 4th and 1. We're on the 1-yard line, it's 4th and 1. It's 4th and 1 on the 1-yard line, please. Don't fumble. Don't do it. Come on, man. May 1st? May 1st? Who wants May 1st, man? Come on. Come on now. It's all about September. If Trump says May 1st, we say September. Well, then there you go. That's what you did. That's what happened. That's why we're here. And that's why Taiwan, God forbid, might fall. And it won't take that long either. God forbid. I don't want Taiwan to be taken over by China. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not what I want. God forbid, though. If you're the communists in that country, what are you doing? What you think that this is the worst time? We're at the worst time right now. And what the correlation between like all the great comedians of years past and Johnny Carson, and you had to be great to be famous. You had to be great to be. You had to be unique. Sam Kinison was unique. There is nobody really like him. Lenny Bruce is unique. Johnny Carson was unique. Arsenio Hall was unique. Lucille Ball, Roseanne Barr, unique. Okay? You can look, I mean, there's John Belushi, unique. You can look at the Beatles were unique. You can look at all the great bands. The Ramones. The Misfits are unique. But everything is now vanilla. Now, if you're a banjo player in a band, world famous band, I'm sorry, we have to let our guitarist go. He said something nice about a conservative. I'm sorry, Twitter, for all the bad things you felt. Nobody would care. God, what's wrong with this world? What have we descended into? Meanwhile, the president's son can get away with pretty much everything. And you look like music. Is there anyone? Just look at the old school rap music. Anyone like Eazy-E? Anyone like Trick Daddy? Anyone like Two Live Crew? Is there anyone? Is there anyone like Kool Moe Dee? Is there anyone like Public Enemy? I don't know. Is there? You tell me. I don't think anybody. Who is? You can look at all the greats in any genre, and they're unique. Trump, you could say what you want about Trump. He's unique. And 74 million people like him. Okay, and the others, they don't even like anyone opposite of him. They just picked somebody. I happen to think, whatever. They were petrified of Hillary, which seemed to be the natural choice. Not that it really mattered, I guess, but whatever. So they picked Mashed Potato Brain. He's unique, not for very good reasons. He's unique in terms of, like, vanilla ice cream is unique. by Biden. Roxanne Shante was amazing. Yes. But you look, and of course my right as I'm doing my Biden, the stream ends. Putin. These people also, like, one thing about today's, like, they believe in nonsense. Kayvon is good. I like Kayvon. He is fantastic. He does one about Megan Rapinoe. Oh my God. It's really good. The conservative political comedians are very good because they have so much to talk about. But you look and everything is just the same, and this is what happens. This is what happens. And great grandma Anon, thank you, Don L. Baker, thank you so very, very much. This is what happens when you have a media creation. Okay, Bernie Sanders started off maybe as a genuine, I don't know what you would call him, but then he became a media creation. Bernard Sanders, if you say a derogatory word about Deborah Wasserman, you'll have me to contend with. Deborah, thank you so very much for your love for 2 primaries in a row, which, by the way, you weren't there for the second one. Tom Perez gave me a lot of love. Oh, he gave me so much love. Wow. Can I tell you how much love I got? With love like that, who needs enemies? 2 in a row. Let's make it 3 in a row. Why not? Why don't you give me the gigantic railroad 3 times in a row? Yes. Medicare for all in 2085. That's what I always say. 2084. 60 years from now, we'll have Medicare for all and a Green New Deal. And we'll pay off your student loans when you are 98. They keep cheating him, and he keeps coming back. And he's just there to... He's just simply there. Global, thank you. He's just simply there to... all he is simply... He's simply there to funnel votes back into the Democratic Party. This entire machine. Like, look... I am not like anything that special, but there is one thing about me. I'll say I am unique in certain respects. Not many people went from Bernie to Trump in terms of media. And I did that from a place like of purity. Like, I wanted Americans home, and Trump got us there, and Biden completely messed it up. So, and the reason I liked Bernie Sanders in the beginning was because I thought he would do that. And I thought that he would be able to, bring Americans home. I just, it's like, you look at what happened. It's really interesting to see, like, The Atlantic, CNN, MSNBC. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see all of the establishment, the wonderful establishment. It's interesting to see them turn. To see the establishment turn is an amusing sight. Well, Biden has to abide. He has to explain. This is a misstep. No, it's a misstep. With Trump, it would have been, the sky is falling, democracy, no! But with Biden, it's a misstep. You think a misstep, expert? Yes, it's a misstep. It's a misstep. It's a big, we didn't like his speech, and there were some things that were inaccurate in his speech. You don't get fact check. line number 105, wrong, lies. And then you get, nobody lies more than Trump. How about Biden? Why don't you try Biden? I never met my son's business associates. Oh, what's that? We went golfing? Oh, okay. I never met them except for golf and, to either give them or pretend that I would give them access to the U.S. government. Aside from that, I never met them. So, now Hunter is an artiste, which is the best thing you've ever seen in your life. It's performance art. He's an artiste. He's performance art. I mean, it's like the adversarial group, by the way, in Afghanistan. The adversarial group brought up Facebook today, which is absolutely hilarious because somebody, I think there was like a press conference or something. It was on CNN or where was it? Bloomberg. And they're asking, like, what are you going to do about freedom of speech? They're like, oh, it's about Facebook. Huh? Like, you don't have freedom of speech on Facebook, do you? It was like, yeah. What? Yeah, I know. What are they saying that? I know. What is that? They just moted us. Oh my God. We are such hypocrites that even like the dystopian nightmare adversaries that we face are like, what about Facebook? Oh yeah? Social media algorithm. That's how like hypocritical we are. Let me see if I can find this. This is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. And then, so the adversary spokesman accuses Facebook of censorship. Which is hilarious because the opposite, like our version of them are the social media tech giants. It's just a little bit different. Like they have their orthodoxies, their dogma, their ideology, and then we have the same type, but it's almost in reverse in a way. It's kind of funny. And you have a situation where all the smartest people in the room yet again are wrong. How do you do we have like former Enron executives running the planet? How are you always wrong on everything? They say like, oh, well, you were wrong, H.A. Badman. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, the worst thing I ever did in my life was say Hillary was going to be nominee because mashed potato brains, I couldn't even imagine it. But then again, whatever. Things we can't talk about. This is the worst thing. Let's compare. All the Libya, Afghanistan, voting for Iraq, Biden, who knows what he was doing with his son. The whole thing, it's like these people live in their own world, and it's all public relations. It's all if enough people agree with them, it doesn't matter if they're right. It doesn't matter if they make sense, if they're logical, if they're rational, reasonable. If enough smart people agree with them, it could be jumping off a cliff. It could be jumping off a cliff. If enough smart people agree with them, that's all they need. That's all they need. All they need is consensus. They live on consensus because they're conformists and they're followers. That they live like I was always taught that there's logic to conformity, okay? But It's not something that you should strive to in life always. It's actually, if you don't conform based on like legitimate, rational principles, that's a really good thing, actually. Because if you're just doing it to just, for no reason at all, it might not be that good of a thing. But like, if you're enjoying your culture or your religion or your your whatever it is that you enjoy with other people, and you're conforming to certain norms, that's good. Okay? If it's Thanksgiving, whatever, if it's 4th of July barbecue, these are fantastic things. Everything, basically, anything opposite of the old Gillette commercial is a very good thing. Or I should say, like, what the old Gillette commercial tried to disparage is awesome. It's really, who doesn't like a barbecue? What is wrong with barbecues? Can anyone please tell me what's wrong with a barbecue? What happened to the Trump-despising far left at a barbecue? What happened to these people? What happened? Salmonella in the hamburger? What happened? Because barbecues are fun. They're fantastic. It's great. What could go wrong? Okay? And then you have the Gillette commercial. It's like, what? What was going on? And it's like, but to conform always, like, they have these, like, what is the difference between CNN, MSNBC, The Atlantic, Esquire, Vanity Fair, Mother Jones, Rolling Stone, The Nation, BuzzFeed, Daily Beast, Los Angeles Times, New York Times, Washington Post? What is the difference? There is no difference. The $20 million venture capital funded pundits, about 10 or 12 of the liberal, channels. What's the difference? It's the John Brennan, Comey, Clapper. What's the difference between the intelligence agencies, Hollywood, social media algorithms, CNN, MSNBC, every publication out there? It's the same vantage point. There's no difference. The same vantage point. It's the same thing. It's a software program. It's the Matrix. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm not right about everything. I'm right about a lot of things. I give pretty good analysis, but I'm not right about everything. But at least I'm unique. At least I'm not part of the Matrix. Neither are you, thank God. Conrad! A small donation to go a long way in counteracting a certain fund. Thank you. Thank you. A small donation and take your take go a long way in counteracting. Thank you so very much, Conrad. Thank you. Thank you. Great Grandma Anon, Dawn. Thank you so very much, Conrad. Thank you. Thank you, Conrad. Thank you so much. I just think, ladies and gentlemen, that God bless the people of Taiwan. It doesn't look, this would be the only time, one of the few times in the last, It's one of the few times in the last 60 years, 70 years, that, China drills near Taiwan as Chinese media warns U.S. won't help. State media sets sights on Taiwan. There's 100 miles in between the mainland and Taiwan. They could flood the Taiwan Strait with ships, the 2 aircraft carriers they have, and they have a whole bunch of, the Navy is revamped, and they could blockade it, and there's pretty much nothing we could do. Not because we don't have the most powerful Navy. We do. We have the most powerful Navy in the world by far. But the geography favors them. There's no, how do you stop a blockade? An airlift? But then they have air superiority over Taiwan. They have an air force too. They have a good air force. The Chinese have a very good air force. So And they have the same like cyber capacities we do. So they have the same cyber capacity that we do. And their jets are state of the art. So they have state of the art weaponry. So I don't understand, like, you know, it doesn't look good. They do. No, I know Taiwan has a good military, but in terms of the advantage, it's like 10-1 advantage, or 3-1 on everything from tanks to jets to naval vessels and they don't have the money. You know, it takes money to wage a protracted conflict. It's pretty, like, if I'm Biden right now, I would probably put a lot of resources into protecting Taiwan. Because that is probably, if God forbid that happens, it would be it could be WW3. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty unbelievable. You look right now and it's like they keep on talking about how the next war will be cyber. Well, they have the same capacities as we do. They have the same abilities as we do. I mean, pretty much. Maybe not the same, but actually the same. They've been building up their military, their capabilities for 20 years now. And any problems they have, their current president addressed in terms of like corruption or bribery. They had those issues like 10 years ago. So, I don't know. Mikhail Archangel. The jokesters are wrong. It's not Trump supporters who were like, it's the left who are fanatical zealots. Oh, I agree with you. Yep. They're the ones who are fanatics. They're the ones who Mikhail, they're the ones who view politics to be religion. Great Grandma Anon, thank you as always. So kind of you. Dawn, thank you as always. Mikhail, thank you. Conrad, thank you. I agree with you. Mikhail, thank you so very much. Larry! Is a parallel cancel culture immune economy possible? Absolutely. I think that anyone who I was actually thinking somewhat of anyone who could, cash in on that will be extremely wealthy. Many of my friends now fear speaking freely, as do I, especially in entertainment. Worked with Rickles. Wow, Larry. I'm sure he was awesome. It is the retribution, as you know. If in Hollywood they find out you support Trump, I'm sure if a person in Hollywood, if an individual, supported anything conservative, not just Trump, it would likely be curtains. Because they don't Hollywood has always been about groupthink. It's never been about, you're talking about an industry where it's entertainment and it's awesome in many ways. And there's a lot of beauty in it, but there's a lot of just the most ruthless people. The most ruthless people. Taiwan reports largest incursion by Chinese Air Force. So they've been working on this for a while now. Their planes are just like the F-16. They look just like the F-16. PLA J-16 fighter. So yeah, I mean, anyone who can develop, I think that anyone who can take advantage, Larry, of the opportunity, I mean, social media is so difficult because, although I need to start an Odyssey account, so I will start an Odyssey account soon. I'm also going to start a Substack, which is basically like a newsletter slash your own publishing. Like you could publish your own it's your own articles there. It's kind of like a more advanced Medium kind of site. But Larry, there's a huge opportunity there. A huge opportunity. Thank you, Larry. As always, thank you, Mikhail. Thank you. There's a huge opportunity. There's a huge opportunity. It's interesting that if President Trump comes back on the scene, and I know he will, and he's more of a subdued, more of a statesman in a way, more of a subdued, still funny, but more subdued. If it's not Barnum and Bailey world, he runs away with it. If it's not, Ringling Brothers. If he just, because, and then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, he's pretending to be normal. Don't believe it. He's still the same. And what did I say? They were trying to say, Larry Elder, vote for Larry Elder. If you're in California, vote for Larry Elder. But what did I say? I said, anyone they don't like, they're going to say, he's worse than Trump. He's to the right of Trump. So that's what they're trying to say with Larry Elder. Larry Elder's fantastic. I called in Larry Elder's show 3 or 4 times over the years. I was on the left, way on the way left. But I called in on a show, and he was very awesome, very nice. I had, my arguments are always, thought out. So if they're not thought out, he just eviscerates you, rips you apart. But he was really cool with me. But yeah, I mean, you look at what's taking place, and who knows what can happen. I mean, if China invades or blockades, Taiwan, it would be a devastating. It would be a devastating thing for the world, and I just don't know. I just don't know what Biden would do, and it would also be 100% Democratic Party and Biden's fault, because the one person who really was the most hawkish without being a military hawk against that country was Trump, and he was vilified for it. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to a friend of mine. I'll put the channel here. If you like ASMR, it's this kind of thing with like sounds and kinetic sand and all these different cool artistic creations that are then a lot of things happen to them. You got to see the link is here. The channel is Sand. Let me see this. Sand Sweets. They have 944 subs. Get them to like thousands of subs. They're awesome. They are awesome. Sand Sweets. And it's like this artistic channel. Definitely subscribe to it. I'll put the link within the chat right here. So there's all these like different creations that they make. It's pretty awesome. And a lot of cool graphics. And if you like artistic, like art, like sculptures and all that stuff, and them like getting like these, sand sculptures getting cut up and all these, awesome things happening to them, definitely subscribe to it. It's called Sand Sweets. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Great Grandma Anon, I can't thank you enough as always. Thank you so very much, Great Grandma Anon. Roger Rabbit, thank you so very much, by the way, like I said, for being a Patreon as well. So kind of you. And for all your kind words. Everyone here, thank you. New Chaotic Order, hello. Eric, thank you so very much. Thanks, everybody. God bless. Thank you so very much. Larry, Conrad, everybody, thank you. Dawn, Roger Rabbit, Great Grandma Anon, you are absolutely wonderful as always. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I will see you probably around 5 a.m. in the morning Pacific. And I'll see you soon.